Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Jazakumullah khair for coming on a Monday night and taking time out of your busy schedules. And I'll just start with a quick reminder just to ensure that we remind ourselves to ensure that our intention is consistently being renewed for the right reasons, and that at the end of the day, with the correct intention, all of us are winners regardless of whatever happens. If you attend the course, you don't attend the course, with your intention, there's such great rewards that are there to be earned. Now, alhamdulillah, this course, just to give a bit of background, this is the third time that we'll be running the course. So we've ran the course already 2 times. Alhamdulillah, we ran it last summer and we ran it summer before, but there've actually sort of been even other different iterations of the course even before that, and other little experiments and so forth. So alhamdulillah, you're starting to get more of a refined product now. But subhanAllah, just to give a little bit of history, it just happened that I'm actually going overseas at the end of the year. And I ran the course the last 2 times, and I wasn't going to run it this summer initially because I was going overseas, and I'm still going overseas, inshallah. However, we sort of worked out with some other tutors and some other teachers, including Brother Shakir, who's going to be presenting to you today, to end up running the course. And I hope this is a useful session to you. Probably what we'll go through, we'll just go through all the content and probably ask you to keep your questions to the end, but probably note them down. There'll be some key slides here which will have a lot of information. So what you might want to do is, you don't have to take a photo of it, we can send you the slides and stuff like that, but just take a note of the things that you want to ask, and at the end we'll just have like a Q&A session, smash through everyone's questions, inshallah. So without further ado, I'll pass you on to Brother Shakir.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Jazakallah khairan to Brother Mukhlis. I know you're all probably expecting a Chinese guy from Auburn to teach you Arabic, but now you have an Indian guy from Bankstown, so inshallah, that's all right. Alhamdulillah, I've done this course before. I did it last year, and I found it very beneficial. I had a bit of a background in Arabic, so everyone has kind of different reasons and different motivations. If I was to ask each one of you why you're here, why do you want to learn Arabic, it's a very personal journey. It's something that everyone has their own reasons why they want to learn. Now, some of you may not have a background in Arabic. Maybe you studied a little bit. Most of you have done a little bit of tajweed, because most of us have said that on the expression of interest that we can read Quran. So whatever your base is, you will find this course very beneficial, inshallah. To go on, so why we're all here because we want to study Arabic, and I'm sure, like I said, we all have our reasons. But just quickly to go over why is studying Arabic important. Firstly, because it's useful for understanding the deen. The whole religion is based around the Arabic language. Whether you're talking about hadith or the life of the Prophet ﷺ, or fiqh, or Quran and tafsir and all of those sciences, all the sciences of Islam, as we know, they revolve around the Arabic language, and it's one of the, if I'm not mistaken, the 5th most popular language in the world at the moment, and it's the language that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose to bring down the Quran and his Sunnah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in. Also, all the prayers and our prayers in Arabic, when we make dua, it's in Arabic. Like we said, the hadith and the explanation of a hadith, if you want to understand your deen properly, you need Arabic. So if someone might want to further on their studies later on and study a degree, for example, of Islamic studies, this will help them on that path, inshallah. One thing that that is very nice about the Arabic language is that it's not like other systems like English, for example, where some things don't make sense, like in terms of the vocalization of words, like this word is said like this. If it's a C, sometimes it's said like a K, and things like that. Arabic's not like that. It's very logical, and it's also almost as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse is saying that, to understand Arabic is to have intellect. So it's linked with intellect in this verse, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. So aql, intellect, is linked with the Arabic language, because it's very, and one of the reasons is because it's a very logical system. So you will find that in opposite to English or another language, that it is very logical, but you got to get that picture first. So what are the aims? There's probably a lot of questions that you guys have. in terms of the course. What are we going to study? What's the aims of this course? What am I going to have at the end of these 2 weeks? Am I going to be speaking Arabic? And am I going to be opening up the Quran and understanding everything that I read? You know, these are some of the questions that might be going through your head. There's some general aims and there's some specific ones. So generally, it's to spread the love of the Arabic language. And also another thing is this is part of like Mukhlis's vision that he kind of sold to me, is to spread and have a culture of the Arabic language amongst, especially our youth. Because as a collective, the understanding of the Arabic language, even to some extent the reading of the Quran and reading Arabic, is not the best. And it can be improved, and we can all improve in that area. And if we do improve that, if everyone improves their knowledge of the Arabic language and is able to access their deen better, then as a whole we'll be able to move forward and develop and make change, real change in the society, inshallah. So that whole point is summed up in reviving Islam through Arabic and spreading it. And I can testify to that, spreading this is the vision of this program, because I did the course myself last year, and then I tutored in the last one, and alhamdulillah I'll be lecturing this one, inshallah. So I'm pretty confident to say that I know the content pretty well, because I've learnt it last year and I've tutored in it as well, and I have brother Mukhlis to support me, inshallah. In terms of the specific aims of the course, what's the specific aims? So for this course, we want this course, and we'll keep developing and refining it to be, inshallah, the best Arabic course out there for people in the West. And to bring this, one of the main aims, or one of the things that we hope to, and inshallah you will have, is a strong basis which will allow you to study part-time afterwards. So once you do this course, say you wanted to join a course in Arabiya Bayna Yadayk, like Book 2 or Medina Book 2, or pick up a Skype class or something like that, it'll make that a lot easier. And everyone's tried, a lot of people have tried to study part-time, and there's a lot of downfalls that come with studying part-time. You start to give up, you don't really see the whole picture. What doing a intensive course allows you to do is to get that whole picture of Arabic, as in we've given here like the main things that you need, and these things will give you a broad picture, and you'll be able to go back and study more and focus on the things that you've learned and refine it. But within these 2 weeks, you'll be able to focus on and consolidate a lot of the ideas. So why this program? Some of the achievements that you have during this course, you memorize core vocabulary. So a lot of the vocab that's in this course is very common. Whether when you want to use it practically, a lot of it is practical, the vocab that you learn. So when you go to read, when you go to listen, this vocab will come in very handy. To be able to attend and study in Arabic courses, so afterwards, and also to, as well on that point, to be able to finish a course. It's nice to be able to say that you finished the course, and the course that we have is quite comprehensive in terms of the content. There's a lot of things that will be covered, and if you're going to compare it to something like the Medina book, it'll probably look like most of book 1, most of book 2, and some context from book 3. And it's been simplified, so there's not heavy Arabic grammar concepts and things like that. It's been simplified to try to make it easy, like we said, to start off, to get that base and get to the next step. As well, you'll be able to converse basic sentences, tools of speech, be able to use things that you can practically use, some sentences, to be able to write simple passages of Arabic, and to understand a basic conversation. Now, you might ask, why would I want to study here in Australia, an intensive course for 2 weeks? I could go to Egypt, I could go somewhere else, I could learn, and I would do a lot. I would learn a lot more. I'd be immersed. But immersion generally takes a lot more time. You can't be immersed in 2 weeks. And the difference with this course is that it's been catered by someone who's had that focus in their mind that this is for a non-Arab, or someone that's coming to learn this language in the West, and they themselves learnt it that way. And it's been tried and tested a little bit, and will continue to be tried and tested, but it's been working pretty good so far. And we're pretty confident to say that this 2 weeks in this course will be better than if you spent 2 weeks overseas. Obviously, if you spent like 3 months or something overseas, then it'll be different. But for a 2-week course, we're pretty confident to say, inshallah, it will be better than spending 2 weeks overseas. So just some other benefits of this course. It's easy and it's fun. There's a lot of interactive things in the course. We'll show some pages from the book and some of the things that we use in the actual course, in some of the other slides. There's some interactive activities. For those who are competitive, there's things like Quizlet. If you don't know what Quizlet is, it's similar to Kahoot. So you have competitions in terms of that. Even when we have quizzes, they become very competitive. And this competitive nature, it's why it helps to actually study together, because it builds that, fosters that relationship with other people, and you want to, you want to win. That competitiveness drives you to learn. With the groups, like I said, there's some people who are more advanced. We can cater for that, inshallah, with these small tutorial groups. And one of the ideas that we had is to have some actual sessions, maybe about 5 sessions for an hour each, throughout the course, where we'll take out some specific students who are a bit more advanced, maybe start to speak with them, and maybe go, and the teacher also will be able to go through some more advanced topics, inshallah, and give them a bit more detail. So inshallah, we will be able to cater for different levels. To build Arabic foundations, as we've been saying, and like I said, you'll be able to say after this that you've completed the course. How often can you say that you were able to complete a course? If you were to start the Medina books or the Arabiya Bayna Yadayk series, you'd be looking at at least like 2 years studying before you could say that you've completed something. But you'll have that good outline and you'll be able to continue part-time. And just to quickly run over, obviously we're talking about Fusha Arabic here, more modern standard / Fusha. Not Ammiya, so not Lebanese or not Syrian or anything like that. These accents we'll be talking about Fusha, which is used in media and the Quran and things like that. So we don't want to overpromise you that you leave you finish the course and you're upset or you're disappointed because you picked up a book and you weren't able to read it and you weren't able to understand it, or there's so many things that you don't understand. But we're giving you the base. This course will give you a very, very strong base to be able to study part-time in terms of sarf, which is the changing of the words, the way that the words actually change. Nahu, so the grammar, so the actual rules. And like I said, it's not heavy. It's not like we won't be teaching you heavy terms. Some of the stuff is actually simplified, and you'll see that later on, inshallah. And starting to apply and applying more some than others, but the 4 skills which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Yeah. And the last thing is vocabulary. There will be, like I said, a lot of vocabulary to be learnt. And one of the things which we'll get to a little bit later is that we would like to have some lead-in sessions to actually get you to memorize, whether it's online and both with in-person and online. If you make that work now, then if you make that work, put in the hard work now and memorize that vocab, then when you come into the course, you don't have to worry about memorizing vocab. You can worry about just focusing on the content, and it will make your life a lot easier. So just to give a quick rundown, you can have a look here. This is the lecture or the program of the content that will be covered, inshallah. So you can see there's a mix of, for those who have a little bit of a background in Arabic, we have, the 3 words in Arabic, the 3 types of words. We have asma, we have af'al, and we have huruf. So there's a mix of, those things here, and you can see that there's some of the things may be a bit unfamiliar. That's because, like we said, we've simplified it so that we're not overburdening you with all these words or with these titles, rather to give you the actual concept so you can move on and apply it. Another key concept that you can see here on the side, every single day there's a quiz. Yeah, that's one of the great things about this program, is that every day there's a quiz. So it kind of forces you to study. But the concepts, because you know that every day you're going to be tested on it. And that helps to consolidate it. There's a couple of module tests, and then there's a final test. Why study intensive? Why not study part-time? Yeah, you could study, a week, 1.5 hours, 2 hours a week, and maybe you could get the same results, right? Learning weekly is hard, and like it says there, especially for beginners. It may be easier once you have a base. Yeah, once you have a base stuff like this course, it'll become a lot easier. But when you don't have that base, it's very hard to learn weekly, and you're learning concepts, but you're not really sure how does this relate to that, and why am I learning this? This doesn't make sense, because you haven't got the whole picture. That's why learning part-time can be hard. Immersion is ideal, but foundations need repetition and focus. This course, if you wanted to, you could complete it over 2-3 days. yeah, but you wouldn't be able to consolidate those ideas in your head, and you wouldn't really be able to grasp them, so you wouldn't be able to apply them. But when you're doing it day by day, there's a 3-hour lecture and then a 3-hour tutorial. When you're doing that, it's constantly building your skills, and you're building those foundations to make the part-time study easier. And like we said before, classmates, environment, very important. So simplified but vigorous. So like we said, we've tried to make it easier, but we're not going to lie and say that it's super, super easy. If you don't have a background, it will be a little bit challenging, but that's why it's an intensive course. It's intensive because we've tried to cover a lot of content, which is the key content, but it is manageable. If you dedicate, if you make that intention and dedicate these 2 weeks to learning Arabic, the next year, inshallah, will be a very, very productive year. So it's full time, and try to free yourself up as much as you can. If you've got work, take time off. If you've got a holiday planned, if you haven't planned the holiday, don't plan a holiday this time. If you've got one planned, try to cancel it. Try to free yourself up as much as you can. And trust me, you will feel the benefits, because you won't be able to get the full benefit if you don't take that time out. Because apart from the 6 hours a day that you're in class, other than that one Sunday, which we'll get to, is going to be off, we expect at least 1 hour of homework each day. And that's, like we said, because we need to build those foundations. So it's not enough just even to come for a lecture and a tutorial, but there's work that needs to be done at home as well. And like we said, we're focusing 2 weeks just on Arabic. It's like being immersed overseas. So the leading vocabulary is approximately 80 words that you'll have to learn beforehand, which is the first few sets of vocabulary, which will give you that head start, inshallah. So you might be asking, will I be able to understand the Quran after I finish this course? Will I pick up the Quran and be Ibn Kathir or something like that after this course? The Quran is probably the most complex level of Arabic. And obviously it's the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator. So what this course will give you, you're not going to be able to pick up the Quran and understand everything, but you will be able to start to understand, why does this have a fatha here? Why does this have a kasra? You'll be able to understand some of these grammar rules. You'll be able to understand a lot of words, or once we start to learn the changing of words, the sarf, you'll pick up words in different forms, but it'll get you over that first hill. But what you'll find is there's another hill after that. And the Quran is an ocean. You could continue studying the Quran for years and years. So just a caveat, don't think that you're going to have the Quran down pat or be able to understand it in depth after this course, but inshallah, you'll be on the way. So memorizing. A lot of people, the way they memorize is just rote learning. Why is rote learning bad? A lot of people complain that they're not able to keep that memory, or they memorize something, like they memorize Quran, and a few months later, they're not able to recall it. It's staying in the short term, but they're not able to move those memories into the long term. So what a lot of people complain about this. One of the things that this course, inshallah, will try to build is some of those memorization skills to teach you to memorize in different ways, through different methods, to be able to make that memorization better and to move it to the long term instead of just the short term. I don't know how many of you have heard of Tansu Ali, but he's a brother from Melbourne. He's 4-time Australian memory champion, and he memorized the 2 yellow pages, the big thick yellow books. He memorized them, and he was tested on national TV. So he's got some methods on how to memorize better, and Brother Mukhlas as well has actually met with him and got some ideas and some feedback from him. And some of those concepts which he's talked about are implemented or tried to implement in the course. So the format, how will be run the course. You can see here, this is November, that is January, and the rest is December. How it will work, there will be a canvas. Does everyone know what Canvas is? Does anyone not know what Canvas is? It's similar to like your uni kind of module where you have lectures and things like that. So you can access some leading lessons, but I would really like to have some in-person sessions as well. So if you sign up today, inshallah, we'll have our first session this Sunday, and basically we'll go through some of the vocab. We will prepare you for the course, give you some tips on memorization, maybe do a small quiz, play some Quizlet to get you used to that as well, inshallah. The Sunday, the 23rd, will be off, but these dates which are highlighted here, that's the dates when the course will run. And it's vital that you try your best to free yourself up as much as you can and attend for those full 14 days, because otherwise you won't be able to get the full benefit. Especially those first 7 days, that's when the bulk of the content is actually delivered. And if you don't get that, it's going to be very hard if you don't have that foundation. And the 1st of January, will just be just a quiz. So you just come in for 2 hours on the day just to do a quiz, inshallah. So this is just a sample of what Canvas actually looks like. So you see here, watch first, just the introduction video. Then about verbs, it's got PDFs there of the actual verb lists and things like that. So once you register, inshallah, we'll give you access to that. And that'll be the first thing. The next thing will be the actual lead-in sessions. Once you register, I'll send out a message, maybe a doodle poll or something, and just make sure that you are all available at the time that's suitable, inshallah, on the Sunday, this Sunday coming, inshallah. And it'll be here. This is an example of some of the lead-in vocab. So we've got here a list of verbs. So before the course starts, it would be we would really like to hope that you would memorize these verbs, and there's more than that, but there's some tools to help you, like we said, like Quizlet. So it's like you're playing a game to learn the word, like memorize or something like that. And to learn this vocab, because like I said, if you learn this vocab and you have it before you come in, when you get into the course, in the beginning of the course, you're just focusing on applying the concepts and learning the theory. This is what the typical day will look like, inshallah. There will be a short period before the actual lecture where I'll be here if you need to ask any questions. If you're stuck somewhere, I can help you out, inshallah. Then the lecture will go for 3 hours. There will be a break in the middle for half an hour, 10:30 to 11. 12 to 1 will be dhuhr and lunch break. And then we'll have a tutorial session for 3 hours as well. And there'll also be a break in the middle there. And that break could be a bit flexible. We'll see when we'll make that break depending on the class. This is a bit of a peek inside the book. So as you can see, it's not a boring book. It is quite interesting. Mukhlis, Jazakallah khairan, has done quite a good job in putting this book together. So you can see you've got did you know boxes, and you've got information, you're filling out things. So this is just from the lecture book, I believe. There's also a practice book. Do we have it here? Yeah, we have a copy here. If anyone wants to have a look and have a skim through it, they're free to do that today, inshallah. So this is just an example so you can see what it looks like on the inside. Quizzes. Like we said, one of the best things about this course, and one of the things that a lot of people love, is the quizzes every day. So this is a sample of a quiz. So as we go on, this is a sample of the first quiz. As you go on, the concepts will build, and the quizzes will get harder. But unlike other courses which I've done myself and some of you may have done, where you study something for a term or 2 terms and then you do a test which asks you to do activities which you've never practiced before, which obviously is very hard. But when you're practicing the concepts and practicing them every day, when you get to the final exam, there'll be a similar format, but the questions will be different. So you'll be building those skills of listening and picking the right translation and things like that over time. In terms of the teachers, so I'll be the lead instructor or the one giving the lectures. So they'll be for 3 hours. I'll have as well, like I said, Brother Mukhlis will be here every now and then to kind of check up on me and keep me in line and give me feedback, inshallah. So just a bit of quick background about myself. I did this, like I said, this same course 1 year ago. And I tutored in the last course. I've completed the book 1 and 2 of the Medina series at UMA, and I'm currently doing book 3. I'm also studying Arabic grammar with Brother Mukhlis also, and Sheikh Ahmed Al-Qasim, and also just Skype classes with Egyptian tutors in Arabic and things like that. So that's just a quick background about myself. In terms of the other tutors, there'll be a mix of native and non-native speakers. So we'll try with the more advanced classes to have native speakers so that the classes will be more in Arabic. Obviously, for the ones who have no background and for the lecture, the base will be English, and maybe we'll move a little bit more into Arabic as we progress towards the end of the course. But for those who do have a bit of a background, maybe a Arab background and do understand a little bit from the beginning, from the get-go in the tutorials, we can start with more Arabic and getting used to listening to Arabic and maybe going through something like Qisas al-Nabiyin or something like that. And past students. So that goes back to spreading the language and building people to move this program and spread it. So, you know, if myself and other people like me, and inshallah some of you can come and move into these positions, then we'll be able to spread out. Mukhlis, for example, could go and teach somewhere else. You know, you could see this program could spread into different states, different cities around the world, inshallah. Is this course for me? So what's the prerequisites? Basically, you just need to be able to read Arabic and be able to write basic Arabic. So if you can read the Quran, that's the minimum that we require. We don't require you to have studied Arabic grammar before, but just be able to read, inshallah, and to write basically. And the most important thing is dedication. Like we said, this is 2 weeks. It's only 2 weeks. It'll fly very quickly. We ask that you be very dedicated in these 2 weeks. Previous students, those, like we said, we've already mentioned it, the ones who have a bit of a background, they will have more customized tutorials. In terms of the fees, it is $600, which might seem like a lot, but when you break it down like this into an hourly rate, you're talking about 83 hours worth of classes. It works out to about $7 per hour, and for students it's even less, it's almost $6 per student. If you're a Hafidh, we would like to reward you because you've obviously showed a lot of dedication by actually memorizing the Quran. So we assume that you also have that dedication when it comes to this course. So for that, if you are a Hafidh, please speak to us. We'd like to reward you for that and to help you on the way to learning Arabic. In terms of payments, we ask that you put a 50% deposit on enrollment. So Brother Usaid is at the front. If anyone wants to enroll, there's a form here, and you can just see him in terms of payment. If you haven't got cash, you can do a transfer. We've got a bank account, inshallah. And that you just pay the balance before the course starts. And you might ask why we're asking for the balance before the course starts. It's because, like we said, we want to make sure that everyone's dedicated, everyone's committed. So putting that payment forward, it just shows your commitment, inshallah. And that's just to compare here. You've got like a normal Sydney Uni Arabic course will be about $14 an hour, and we're charging $7 an hour. And what does it cover? What does that $7 an hour get you? It gets you an awesome book, an awesome theory book and practice book, a 3-hour lecture each day, customized tutorials for those that are more advanced, and even just a tutor for 3 hours each day. Developing the course, there's a lot of work that goes into the course. Like we said, we've got quizzes every day. We've got to print that. Someone's got to print that stuff out. Someone's got to mark it. We try to give as quick feedback as we can. So we try to give you the feedback of the marks the next day. So that's another benefit, is that you get feedback very quick. You can see where you went wrong, and you can improve day by day. And if you do have any financial hardship, please feel free to speak to me, and we can work out something, inshallah. Well, there's a form at the front. You can get it from Brother Usaid and pass it on to me, and I'll speak with you one-on-one about that, inshallah. So just starting to wrap up now. These are just some testimonials from previous students. You can have a quick read. These are from the students that did the course in the winter, and they did find it very beneficial. And I myself did it before, and I found it very beneficial. Just to kind of add on to what we've said, I found that I had a base, but this course kind of gave me some direction on where to go afterwards. And also some skills and consolidating some of the stuff that I'd already learned, and it made it, for me at least, I can't speak for everyone, and I can't guarantee that when you finish the course it's going to be the same exactly for you, but I found that it gave me a very good base and a sense of direction where to go with my Arabic studies, and I was able to progress, bi'idhnillah, a lot in this last year. So how do you sign up? There is limited spots, because as you can see, the space is a little bit limited. We can fit at least about 30 people here, and that's what we'll, inshallah, cut the course off at. If you don't enroll now, then when? How many times do we procrastinate? We've been saying for years that we want to do this or we want to do that, and we keep talking, but if you don't put into action now, it'll be very hard in the future, especially if you're in that kind of stage where now you're at uni, you've got a bit of spare time. You know, this course is really aimed at university students, and as well people who can take some time off work, because they can take that time off work. But for the university students, you're at a time of your life which you'll never have this time again. You will never have this time to just dedicate 2 weeks into Arabic. And if you're in your first few years of uni, if you dedicate these 2 weeks now, then over the next few years, when you're studying part-time, when you finish uni, inshallah, you'll have a great base. So build those foundations and give yourself time to develop those foundations over the coming years. So just stick around, inshallah. We'd like to just do some quick assessments just to kind of see where you guys are at. If you've got any questions, you can ask, inshallah, and we'll be here to answer your questions. So I'll put the floor to you guys. Do you guys have any questions that you want to ask?
Just to clarify, this is a course for people who already have a base in Arabic.
It's aimed at those who don't have a base for beginners. But if you do have a base, like I said to myself, I had finished about 2/3 of the Medina series, so I had a base of grammar and things like that. You will find it very beneficial also.
Meaning it's not for people who want to learn alif, ba, ta.
No. You need to know how to read, like we said, the Quran. So when we say beginners, we're talking about Arabic grammar. We're not talking about Arabic as in alif, ba, ta, or abjad, or whatever you want to say. Anything else?
In terms of writing, what if I can't join the letter, for example?
It's a good question. We actually had students from the last winter course that wanted to sign up. They could read, but they couldn't actually join the letters and write. What I actually did with them, I sat them down for a crash course. In 2 hours, I taught them, and then it was fine. Like the writing's not too bad.
Not a very slow writer.
Yeah.
What's the slow?
Yeah. We actually recommend in the vocab leading course, like when we're actually getting you to memorize vocabulary before the course, that slow writers practice a lot of writing, because the course actually has a lot of writing in it. And the teacher will be writing things on the board, and you'll be trying to write as well.
Yeah, and also with the vocab as well, you can write down the vocab. We'll give you some palm cards or things like that, so you can start writing down the vocab. And if you do a lot of writing, if you haven't got that base in writing, that'll help you to kind of build your writing skills, inshallah.
When it comes to teaching the vocab,
Yep.
you split it up into like different categories. Say, for example, I don't know, maybe politics, food, things like that.
That's
Do you guys teach it like that?
that's a very good question. If you have a look in the book, it's set out exactly like that. So it's split into verbs, people, tools of speech, things like that. It's another good feature I found when I was doing the course, that it is split up like that. So it's not a bunch of random words. They actually split up into categories.
The exception is the early lists that you start with. They're just based on frequency.
Yep.
So you just copy like really high frequency verbs, very high frequency nouns at the beginning. Then afterwards they're categorized.
Yeah, but they are like categorized into verbs, for example, or singular nouns or plurals. So there is whether it's not like necessarily related in terms of meaning or anything, but it is categorized. Yeah. Any questions from the sisters at all? No more questions. If no one has any questions, we can stop there, inshallah. Like I said, there's a form there if you want to enroll. And you can see Brother Usaid either to make a deposit now or to get the bank details. You can make one later. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. And also, there is the copy of the book here. So if anyone wants to see it, maybe we can split up and give the sisters one of the books so they can have a look. And the brothers have one here. So feel free to just have a squeeze, have a look at the book, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan. Jazakumullahu khairan.